Turn and talk is a technique used in classrooms across the country. It is a low-lift, high-yield technique that facilitates active learning and student-to-student discussion. In discussion, students puzzle through a problem posed by the lecturer and then justify their answers to each other. The benefits of this technique are that it allows every student to work through a problem in a low-pressure conversation with the peer. The emphasis behind the strategy is in articulating with the peer why an answer is correct and why the others are incorrect. As a teacher, this is great because it lets you know that every student in the room is engaging with the material. What you'll see next is Dr. Luba Domenko using this technique in a first-year lecture on hemostasis and thrombosis. Dr. Domenko is using a software called Poll Everywhere that allows her to see student answers, but this technique works even without a program like that. Alternatively, a lecturer could simply call on students from the audience to share their answers at the end of the discussion. On the left, you will see Dr. Domenko giving her lecture, and on the right, you will see what the students see on the projector.
All right, this one's trickier. I want you to turn to your neighbor and talk about this one for a second before you answer this one. A patient with hemophilia A would be expected to have, and I helped you a little bit here, A, normal bleeding time. Now, bleeding time, I just want to make sure you know it says bleeding time. B, a shortened bleeding time, and C, a prolonged bleeding time. So turn to your neighbor for a second before you answer and chat.
In this clip, you can see that Dr. Domenko gave clear instructions to the students, and she chose a question that stimulates discussion instead of relying purely on factual recall.
Okay, is everybody ready? Let's take a look. Okay, so I did help you guys a little bit by writing bleeding time in uppercase B and T, and by writing the test of primary hemostasis. But that is the correct answer, answer A. So those of you who thought of prolonged bleeding time, I understand completely why you thought that. In hemophilia, what's the major clinical manifestation? Bleeding. So you might think that the bleeding time was long, but the bleeding time, when it's uppercase B, uppercase T, is that test we talked about where you make a template cut and you measure how long it takes to stop bleeding. It's not how long do you bleed for, it's how long do you bleed for on this test. And that's why I helped you by writing a test of primary hemostasis. Now, are the platelets okay?
Dr. Domenko does another great thing here by taking time to explain why answer C was incorrect. This is a crucial step for clearing up any misconceptions among the students. Now you'll see Dr. Domenko explaining why she uses this technique.
I love interacting with my audience when I lecture. I love being able to assess where they are. And to be honest with you, I really want them to stay awake. And I have been in the back of lecture halls plenty of time, and I know how somnolent it can become and how easy it is to just sort of drift away, stop staying with the lecturer. And so what I like to do is constantly say, what did we just learn? And can you tell me where we are in my big picture? So it's my way of bringing them back to, why are we doing what we're doing? Where are we? And so by doing that, I can constantly, one, make sure to at least wake up a certain proportion of them. And two, I think it is a way of making it a little bit more engaging so that I can actually, and I assess where they are. If I'm getting no answers after a while, I either have droned on too long and lost them, or I'm not getting my point across and they're confused. And I think either of those are incredibly helpful to know about. So I've kind of found that to be asking questions throughout to be really helpful because I get a sense of where the students are as well.
To recap, turn and talk is a strategy in which a lecturer chooses a high-level question and then asks students to puzzle through that question in discussion. The strategy works with or without some kind of polling software like Poll Everywhere. And after the question is done, the lecturer takes time to explain the answers and clear up any misconceptions. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you'll be able to use this strategy in a lecture of yours sometime soon.